So that way, there's no web trickery or anything like that. They can, get into it on the beginning because, like in the case of Joe, she wasn't ranked at all for any of those terms. And then within, 3 days, I had her ranking number one. And for, the term that triggered the Google Maps, she was actually ranking above Google Maps.
Wow.
And I mean, that's unheard of, especially, in 3 days
Mm-hmm.
because there were, millions of results. And the site that I outranked had a very nice page rank and they were established. Here comes Joe's site that's a few months old and hardly has any backlinks whatsoever, and then PAL, all three terms that I went for in 3 days were all ranked number one. And if you talk to other SEO firms, of course they're all going to say well, we could do that too,
Mm-hmm.
but I never see their screenshots.
Right. And you actually
So,
proved it. Yeah.
well, I think that's important, especially in this day and age, because especially in the show me state, because everybody wants to see the proof instead of just hearing it, because everyone gets so many worthless
Promises.
promises.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
What just on a side note, I have been doing that, but see the trick that is gonna, help me working with you is that I've been showing people results and proving what I can do, and then they just drop it there and don't pay me or don't hire me for ongoing work. So there's something I'm not doing correctly there. I'm just giving away my power and then not being able to follow up to continue the relationship. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm going after people who don't have any money. Maybe that's probably the problem.
okay, well, where do you think that you're dropping the ball?
I think it is. I think I'm going for the wrong clientele in the first place. I think it's
Okay,
at the beginning.
what kind of people are you focusing on?
Um, well, this one client I've done a lot of work for because she has some really good products made, um, but she needed a whole bunch of pieces, puzzle pieces put together to get her online presence put together, and so she promised that once I did all that, like build a couple of websites and get her social media all going, she would start to pay me. But now she doesn't know how to get traffic, so it's this online ongoing thing.
Okay, how much would each visitor that you get her be worth to her?
That's a good question.
Okay, an even more important question. With her niche, how many people do you think that you could drive to her every month?
Oh, a lot. She's got a
Okay,
great niche. Huge.
okay. But considering that she's going to have to cover the cost of you,
Hmm.
then cover the additional cost of the additional product that she's going to have to sell just to cover your services,
Hmm.
and then sell that much more just to, break even,
Hmm.
how much are your services worth to her now?
That's where I get all boggled down.
You can't start with someone that isn't already established
Mm.
because they won't be able to see value because there isn't any yet.
Mm.
There's no way to judge what your services are worth to her because you don't know, you know, any of the variables.
Mm.
If they had, a static track record, that you could, say, okay, in July we sell 1,200 units. In January we only do, 600. Then you can, gauge performance.
Okay.
But the fact that she has absolutely no track record at all,
Hmm.
who's to say what you're doing for her and what she's doing for herself?
Hmm.
And guaranteed, you know, where she's emotionally tied to it, you wouldn't get the credit for what she does.
Of course not. Yeah. There are things I've measured, like getting her 4,000 YouTube friends and followers, and things like that. That's measurable. But what
Okay,
she doesn't, but it's not monetizing. So.
Well, I was getting ready to say, but how many of those users converted?
Right, none. Well, probably
O-
one or two.
Okay, how would you personally know if they did?
I do have, yeah, actual converting of them actually buying, I don't.
That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to track your own performance, so there's no way that you could give her a value sheet.
Mm,
And that's why it's not working.
okay.
And not putting you down by any means, because, especially in the beginning, you want to help someone that's trying to help themselves and
Mm-hmm.
everything else. But, you know, they're not going to see the value in what you're doing because they're not making any money themselves.
Right,
And if they're not making anything themselves, they can't pay you.
right. That's the problem. So what I've gotten out of it is a tremendous amount of experience, and I really know what I'm doing now. So that's cool, you know. So,
Well, we always, take jobs to chalk up to experience.
mhm.
So,
So now it's time to go out and actually that's what's so great about brick and mortar businesses is they do have, they've got the records and you can say, okay, well, we can take it here from where you are. So,
right. But it also depends on what the niche is,
mm,
because you have to look at, okay, if someone calls on a dentist, that's going to be at least a $400 or $800 phone call. But if someone's calling to get their yard cut,
yeah,
they're not going to pay you $10 for a $20 lead.
right. So I
So
don't want to go to a florist who sells like, $25 bouquets of flowers when you can go to a dermatologist who would charge 5,000 bucks at a shot.
exactly,
Yeah.
because I mean, you do have some businesses where, especially seasonal, where you mentioned, florist.
Hmm.
You know, that would be an excellent campaign to set up during, Valentine's Day, or
Mother's Day.
something like that. Exactly. You know, because you'd be able to get the brand awareness out. And then, even though you wouldn't be able to measure the actual sales that came from you, the fact that every single person in that area that's online knows of that business, and we can ensure that, that's going to be valuable to them.
Okay.
So even if you couldn't, say, okay, I sent you, 12 people this day, 17 people this way, the fact that every single person that's online, which is going to be 80% of the town, knows of that business, that in itself is going to be a powerful thing. And then
Okay.
they'll pay for that, presence. So it depends on the business, depends on the niche, and that's how you have to focus, and that's how you have to address people, because you have, some areas that, it's going to be a lead basis. I can, get you this many phone calls, or this is going to increase by this much, or whatever. Then
Mm-hmm.
you have specialty businesses, where it might be year round or maybe seasonal, but you're mainly selling the brand exposure. So the way that we would do that would be, make sure that they're ranking in, Google and all the other local, websites and citation sites, and then build up a presence on Facebook, and then focus on, Facebook PPC ads. So that way everything is highly targeted, and yeah, every person that is on Facebook is going to see that business. So even if the campaign only runs for a few weeks or maybe a month, you know, that business is going to be fresh in everyone's mind.
Right.
So it's all in how, you address it, and you know that's how, you have to make the client perceive it. So
So that's so what you just said was there's two important things ways to look at it. One is to look at leads, and the other one is brand exposure when you're evaluating clients. Is that correct?
exactly,
Okay.
and both of them have different approaches. So you have to know, what's going to be the outcome of which method, and the best way to sell is with your ears.
I love that.
Listen to your client.
Yeah.
And by listening to them, for one, they're going to respect the fact that you actually, listen to them instead of trying to pitch them.
Right.
But they will tell you exactly what they're doing wrong and what they need to do.
Okay.
So sometimes it's as simple as listen to what they say and then repeating what they just said back to them.
Okay.
And then whenever they hear it, even though it just came out of their mouth, when you repeat what they just said, then it'll click what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they'll understand the importance of what you can provide. And the fact that you are an expert in your field, they'll trust your opinion.
Right. Okay. Is there anything else that you need to say to wrap this up?
Not that I can think of for now.
Okay. I think this is extremely helpful and thorough right now at this point. It's a lot to take in.
Well, there's a lot of different areas, I could still go in, but I don't want to put too much too quick
Right.
because I would rather, someone take the time to, focus on something and get that part down and then move on
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, analysis paralysis is a major problem with what we do
Absolutely.
because when we're constantly trying to stay up on everything and keep up with the news and latest trends and then keeping up with everybody else in the group, so that way we all sound like we're professionals and everything else, which most of it it's a facade.
Mm-hmm.
you know Most of the times when you see people putting themselves out there as an expert, if you check their website, their site will only be a few months old, or you'll find out that they just took the course a month ago. But to hear them talk, they've been doing it for years.
Right.
So you have to look at what is said, but then you also have to look at the perspective of where the information's coming from, and then take it all in, but weed out what's not relevant, and trust people that know what they're doing and actually know what they're talking about. But even then, you have to take into consideration the biasness. You know, are they trying to sell a course? Are they trying to sell a book? Are they wanting you to come to their seminar?
Mm.
That's why I've never sold a book, and that's why I don't do seminars, because I want someone to respect my opinion, you know, and know that it's unbiased. I would rather someone know that I'm going to give solid information and truly try to help someone versus, trying to sell them in the back end or have, something contextual.
Okay.
So, but
Wow. Yeah.
the information's key, the quality of the information, where it comes from, the bias behind it, and then, figuring out what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we all have our own styles, and if you're not comfortable with it, don't do it.
Right.
Never try to force yourself to do something that doesn't feel right. Because if it doesn't feel right, it's either wrong in the first place or it doesn't match your style. And you have to be yourself, or you can't show any personality. And if you have no personality, you'll never sell anything in the first place.
It won't be sustainable. Yeah.
Exactly. So, just to close, um, I just want everybody to know that no matter what, I'm always accessible. And in any way, on any level, if anybody needs any help, I'm always here. Sometimes, especially right now, I'm getting a little backed up because of everything going on, and I am doing everything that I can, to move everything forward, as quick as possible. But, you know, if I get a message or an email, I'll make sure to get to it. So if I haven't responded yet, you know, it's not on purpose.
I
So
see that that's very, very true, and I think most of us are more concerned about you taking care of yourself because we really trust that, and we've seen it. You've proved it. So, thank you for everything you're doing.
very welcome.
Okay. Well, thanks for this, and we'll have another session soon.
Well, thank you for taking the time. It's been a pleasure, and we'll get together soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye bye.
All right, bye.